The words hung in the air, frozen like the Christmas ornaments. "You need to move out," my mother said, just as I was swallowing a bite of her perfect honey-glazed turkey. The entire family table went silent. "Really?" I replied, wiping my mouth slowly. "Because I own this house." The look on her face was worth every penny of the secret mortgage I'd taken over when Dad died. That's when I realized this wasn't an eviction notice. It was a declaration of war. Christmas had always been my mother's production. The perfectly decorated tree, the matching china, the orchestrated family harmony, it was her stage. This year felt different though. There was a tension in the air that even the scent of pine and cinnamon couldn't mask. I was 28, living in what had been our family home since I was 5. After Dad passed away 2 years ago, I'd stayed to help Mom with the mortgage. What she didn't know was that when the bank threatened foreclosure 6 months ago, I'd used my entire inheritance and savings to quietly assume the mortgage entirely. The house was legally mine, but I'd kept it secret to avoid hurting her pride. My brother Mark and his perfect wife Sarah were visiting with their 2 children. My younger sister Chloe, home from college, kept shooting me nervous looks throughout dinner. The meal was proceeding with the usual forced cheer when Mom cleared her throat delicately. "I have an announcement," she said, setting down her wine glass. "I've been doing some thinking about the future." We all looked up expectantly. Maybe she was finally going to sell the house and downsize, I thought. She smiled, a tight, practiced expression. "Olivia," she said, addressing me directly, "it's time you stood on your own 2 feet. You need to move out. I'm giving you 30 days notice." The forkful of turkey I'd just taken suddenly felt like sawdust in my mouth. Chloe gasped. Mark looked down at his plate, refusing to meet my eyes. He knew. I carefully placed my fork on the edge of my plate, wiped my mouth with the linen napkin, and took a sip of water. The entire table watched, holding their breath. "Really?" I said, my voice deceptively calm. "That's interesting timing. Because technically, Mom, you can't give me notice to leave a house you don't own." The silence was absolute. You could hear the grandfather clock ticking in the hallway. "What are you talking about?" Mom's smile didn't falter, but her eyes narrowed. "I own this house," I said simply. "I took over the mortgage in June when the bank was about to foreclose. You missed 3 payments. The deed is in my name." The color drained from her face so completely I thought she might faint. The perfect Christmas tableau she had so carefully constructed was shattering before her eyes. You what?" My mother's voice was a whisper, all the previous authority gone. "The bank sent multiple notices." "Mom," I explained, keeping my tone neutral. "You ignored them. So I used the money Dad left me, plus most of my savings, and bought the house from the bank. I've been paying the mortgage, the taxes, everything for the last 6 months." My brother Mark finally spoke, his voice tight. "I told you we should have told her, Mom." My head snapped toward him. "You knew?" He had the decency to look ashamed. "She came to me first. I didn't have the money to help." The betrayal stung, sharp and deep. My own brother had known our mother was about to be homeless and said nothing to me. But where would I go? My mother asked, genuine confusion in her voice. As if the concept of her being the one displaced was incomprehensible. "I don't know," I said honestly. "But since you were so ready to kick me out with 30 days notice, I'm sure you have a plan for yourself as well." The absurdity of the situation hit me. She had planned to evict me from my own property. "This is my home," she cried, her voice rising in panic. "I've lived here for 23 years. Your father and I bought this house together." I finished for her. "And then you nearly lost it." "I saved it. And I did it quietly because I didn't want to embarrass you." Clearly, I should have been less considerate. My sister Chloe was watching me with wide, shocked eyes. "You own the house?" she repeated, as if trying to make the concept compute. "I do," I confirmed, pulling out my phone. I opened the digital file of the deed and pushed it across the table toward my mother. "See, Olivia Marie Carter, sole owner." My mother glanced at the screen and recoiled as if burned. The truth, in stark legal typeface, was undeniable. The perfect Christmas dinner was ruined. The turkey was cold, the gravy congealing. The children, sensing the adult tension, had gone quiet. "You've been plotting this," my mother accused, her shock turning to anger. "Waiting for your moment to humiliate me in front of the whole family." "No, Mom," I said, exhaustion suddenly washing over me. "I was trying to protect you. I was trying to keep a roof over your head. You're the one who decided to turn this into a power play at the Christmas table." I looked around at my family, my mother, furious and frightened. My brother, complicit and guilty. My sister, bewildered. They had all seen me as the dependent one, the one who needed to be managed, the one who wasn't quite adulting correctly. They never saw the person who had quietly taken responsibility for everything. "I'll give you the same courtesy you were going to give me," I said, my voice firm. 30 days. You have until the end of January to find a new place and move out, the words hung in the air. A perfect, brutal mirror of her own, the aftermath was immediate and chaotic. My mother burst into tears, real ones this time, not the performative kind she used for sympathy. Mark started yelling that I was being cruel, that she was our mother, for God's sake. Sarah tried to shush the children, who were now crying too. Chloe just sat there, shell-shocked. I stood up from the table, my appetite gone. I think I've lost my appetite for turkey, I said calmly. Though my heart was hammering against my ribs, you can't do this. My mother sobbed, her face buried in her hands. Where will I go? What will I do? The same questions you expected me to answer with a month's notice, I replied, gathering my plate. I suggest you start thinking about them. I walked my plate to the kitchen, the sounds of the dining room drama following me. I felt strangely detached, as if I were watching a play. For years, I had played my part, the reliable daughter, the one who didn't cause trouble, the one who stayed behind to pick up the pieces. That character was gone. Mark followed me into the kitchen. You're really going to throw our mother out on the street? At Christmas? I turned to face him, my patience snapping. Don't you dare, I said, my voice low and dangerous. Don't you dare play the moral high ground with me. You knew she was in financial trouble, you knew she was going to do this, and you said nothing. You left me to clean up the mess, as usual. So you don't get to judge how I handle it. He had the decency to look away, shamefaced. I didn't know she was going to try and kick you out, he muttered. But you knew she couldn't afford the house, I pressed. And you did nothing. So you can either help her find an apartment now, or you can take her in yourself. Your choice. The idea of our mother moving in with Mark and his picture-perfect family clearly horrified him. I saw the calculation in his eyes, the disruption, the loss of privacy, the strain on his marriage. This is insane, he said, running a hand through his hair. We're a family. We can work this out. The time for working things out was before she tried to evict me from my own home, I said. She made this bed, Mark, now she gets to lie in it. I left him standing in the kitchen and went upstairs to my room, my legally owned room. I closed the door and leaned against it, the adrenaline finally making my hands shake. I could hear the continued arguing downstairs, but it felt distant, muffled. About an hour later, there was a soft knock on my door. It was Chloe. She slipped inside, her eyes red-rimmed. Is it true? She asked quietly. You really own the house? I nodded, sitting on the edge of my bed. Yeah, it is. She was going to kick you out, Chloe said, almost to herself. She told me last week she was going to give you a push. She said you were too comfortable here. She never said anything about not being able to pay the mortgage. The pieces clicked into place. This wasn't just about me standing on my own 2 feet. This was about control. She thought she still held all the cards. She thought she could dictate the terms of my life from a position of power, never imagining that the foundation of that power, the house itself, had already crumbled and been rebuilt under my name. She messed with the wrong daughter, Chloe said, a small, unexpected smile touching her lips. I'm kinda proud of you, Liv. Her words were a balm I didn't know I needed. In the wreckage of the Christmas dinner, I had found an ally downstairs. The front door opened and closed. I looked out my window to see Mark and his family loading into their car, leaving early. The war was over for tonight, but the battle for what our family would look like next had just begun.